pay for or subscribe to have really, really great sentiment ratings. Some of these other ones, they're known to be somewhat problematic or flawed because they're free tools. One thing about sentiment is it's often fooled by things like question marks and things like that, which always come out as if it's a negative type of a statement. So launch Sentiment 140, or go to the link. It's going to ask you to, verify that you are a Twitter user. And once you get in, you get to this screen where you get to do some type of a search. So I'll go ahead and this has been open for a while, so I'll pop this to see if it gives something else. So at this point right now for Domino's Pizza, it's saying it's estimating that the current sentiment is 62% positive, 38% negative. Again, these things can be easily fooled. I think you'll also find that in a lot of the high-end ones, it wouldn't bother to try to rate everything. So what you'd end up finding is like 25% positive, 21% negative, and I can't figure out 50%, so I'm not going to try to put that in there. A lot of these less expensive ones or free ones, they're trying to rate every single thing. On this particular one, it's Domino's Pizza is by far the worst pizza ever to me, question mark. So again, is that a negative statement? Is that a positive statement? Domino's for middle to upper class, Pizza Hut, middle class to lower class, Papa John's is for the poor. But this thing then will allow you to sort down, and it's going, if you wanted to just scan what the positive ones are saying, I want some Domino's so badly. Eating cheesy pizza takes me back to ordering Domino's pizza with somebody every Tuesday. Sounds like it's bringing back good memories. Here, me and Josh have driven to get Domino's pizza and the boxes are burning my legs. It's rating that as a negative thing, but in some ways, maybe that's actually a positive type of thing. So this is just a very basic look. If you're going to use one of these things, do the smart thing. Sample them at multiple times on multiple days without killing yourselves. Report basically the aggregate of that. And then you're skimming down here to be able to find specific tweets that might help back up your cause or provide better explanation. I want Pizza Hut pizza so badly. If that's the case, you can go ahead and click on this and you could find out more about that particular person if that was going to help you out to make your case because you were hoping that they would be one type of person or another. The second one of these is called Twitter Sentiment. And this one is a fairly complicated program. It's probably much more, accurate on some of the things that it's doing. On this opening page, it gives you kind of a rundown since this thing does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different tabs up here. It's talking about how it represents emotion, how it does the sentiment rating. And it's giving some very specific information about each one of these tabs. So you could always come back to this front page to be able to look to see what some of that stuff meant. Up here at the very beginning, it just says, hey, you can try the tweet visualizer online. So I went ahead and clicked on it. It opens up the second window. Keywords, I'm going to go ahead and type in Domino's Pizza. And it's going to pop back up on this. Obviously, if you're even going back to that last one, Sentiment 140, it takes just seconds to run. Check it out to see what it just says about pizza in general. Check it out to see what it says about Domino's Pizza, what it might end up saying about Pizza Hut. And then at this point, here, this one is finally done, the tweet sentiment visualization. You'll notice that on some of the tabs, it's going to have a zoom in tool. So what it's showing over here is that for the most part, pleasant, unpleasant, active, subdued. That more of basically the tweets about Domino's Pizza are pleasant and they're a little bit more active than being passive. You can come in from here and it's going to give you a very short, on this page, explanation of what each of these things do. Or you can go back to the main page for the longer version. And I can come back in here and say, look, let me go look at topics. What it's done here is it's basically zoomed in and found groups of things that it feels are together. And then these other ones, it's kind of seeing these as all separate types of things. Makes happy bot. Well, let's just check this one out. So I'm going to click on this and it's going to go ahead and open up a series of the tweets. Here, the guy that makes my pizza at my local Domino's has made my last like 40 pizzas. Not complaining though, he makes them so good. And this thing has gone ahead and you can allow it to open up multiple of these things so that you can sample to see what any one of these might end up being. Or again, you can pick one of the individual ones, just hover over it. Is this how late you really serve a 3 hour late pizza? Come on. And it's cold too. So obviously some of these aren't necessarily all that positive. The heat map, basically, again, it shows you unpleasant to pleasant, active to subdued, and down here in the color code, it'll tell you what the different colors mean. But for the most part, the red is the more active, or the higher, the more passionate one of these things. So for the most part, right now, Domino's Pizza is trending well. Tag Cloud will end up showing you different sets of words that are consistently showing up in the quadrant of being pleasant active, pleasant subdued, unpleasant subdued, unpleasant active. Timeline basically shows you relaxed, happy, unhappy, and upset over a certain fixed period of time. So you can come back in and see when people have been the most negative about it, or the most positive. Here I'm going to zoom in on this one, and I'm going to say that I want to see just the approximate percentage of what these are. The map will show me basically where in the United States these things are. If it's unpleasant, if it's kind of somewhere in the middle, the darker they get, the more pleasant they are. The affinity. I'm just going to come on in here and take a look. I clicked on this one with the big bubble, and it's going to go ahead and start to say, just ordered pizza from my phone. This is real. Thank you at Domino's for getting it. Tasted like love. That sounds fantastic. And going to bed with no pizza. Domino's has failed me. So at some point you can go here and sort through and read what some of these things are, and again take screenshots of them. Or if at some point you get tired and you don't want to look through this whole stack, I can just hit close all to move out of that. And then when I come in on the tweets, it allows me to sort these in several different ways, but I could just see these as a visual timeline if that is something that makes you feel more comfortable. So that's a few of the basic kind of sentiment raters that come that are free of charge, and the Sentiment 140 is the most simple one you can use out there, and this Tweet Sentiment Visualizer is one of the more complicated ones that has multiple different tabs that you could possibly use.